Hello, we're back. It's been another month. I'm going to try to power through this a bit better because I filmed most of this, like a week ago, and it was 50 minutes long. And I'm like, I don't want to edit that. That sounds like a chore. So I'm going to just power through these as quickly as I can. Because there's, a lot of movies. I watched about 50 odd last month. This month, I've taken a bit more time to not watch as many movies. There's some new TV shows out there. I'm watching Always Sunny on Disney Plus because it's the only way to fucking watch it in Australia. Despite the fact that we're getting it delayed, my mate who's been pirating the show has already 2 episodes ahead of me, and I'm like, how? I don't even have those 2 episodes yet in Australia. And also Alien Earth. I'm 3 episodes in as of recording. It's interesting, which my brother thought was a harsh criticism. I'm like, no, I'm very open-minded when it comes to the Alien universe because I love the Alien films. And it's just a little like, okay, this could be bad, this could be good. I'm interested to see where it's going. It's got an interesting first 2 episodes. The third one was a lesser than, but it's because I'm concerned that it's not setting up the rest of the season well enough. I don't know. Because the first 2 episodes work as a two-parter, but the third episode ends the two-parter and then starts what could be the next chapter of that. So, we'll see. Episode 3 seems to be a diversion. You got to go into episode 4 and 5 before maybe that narrative wraps up. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, I like aliens. I like how there's new bug creatures and stuff. That's cool. I don't like the overuse of CGI on them, but I'll take what I can fucking get. It's a good cast as well. So anyway, we started the month watching The Terminator on 4K. Fantastic film. Gave it 5 stars. Finally got to watch the UHD, and it looks incredible. Wonderful film. Time Stalker, Vivision Blu-ray. I gave it 3 stars. It's an Alice Lowe film, and I really do like her as a comedian, I guess. She's great in Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. She did Prevenge, which was her first feature, which I really liked. This one I didn't like as much, but I think I might enjoy it a lot more on rewatch because it has a certain style that takes a while to get used to. Alice's type of humor is very distinct and very particular, but it also feels like a mixture of like Blackadder and Cloud Atlas and like horrible histories all wrapped together. So if you like British humor, especially with Blackadder and stuff like that, like how it's got different time periods, that's doing this film within the course of a film. And it just has very interesting topics of discussion. There's some things that could have been further developed. The production design could have looked better if they had shot it better, because I think the way they shot it makes it look really cheap, but it doesn't feel like a film that should be cheap. Like, it probably is a low-budget film, but I'm like, if they had different lenses and focused it differently so the background wasn't out of focus so you could actually get some depth to it, because digital cameras suck a lot of the time. I know, I use one. It makes it look really shitty and cheap, so I don't know, it is what it is. On the 2nd, I watched Dawn of the Dead from 1978. I watched the extended cans cut, introduced to my partner, who was actually willing to watch the extended version, because she's not big on watching movies over 2 hours. And she really liked it. She thought it was very funny, which is not the kind of thing I want to hear when it comes to a horror film, but I guess, yeah, it is. I mean, there's obviously intentional comedy. There's a pie fight in the film. But it is the kind of film that is goofy with its zombies, with the way they look and everything. But she loves seeing the main zombie because she had literally made that zombie head for a costume that I did one year as Tom Savini. So, yeah, that was great. We also watched on the 3rd Taken. She wanted to watch it because the new Naked Gun film's coming out, and she wanted to get some kind of context for his career, which I'm like, okay, probably could have watched Phantom Menace instead. At least that movie's funny. But yeah, I gave it 3 stars. We watched it on Disney Plus because it's better than the DVD, I guess. Because I have it on DVD. I don't care much for the film. It's okay. I gave it 3 stars. We watched Whiplash. What a double feature. Gave it 4.5 stars. She'd never seen it before. She's been wanting to watch it for a while. And I'm like, it's going to be tense. Like, really tense. My hands were sweating during it. And I've seen this film before. So, really tense. Really well made. Probably a 5-star film, but I'm content with 4.5. On the 4th, 5th, and 6th, I did a double feature. I did a whole video talking about the longest film I have and the shortest film I have on physical media, where I dived into these a lot. So this is Napoleon and War and Peace. Napoleon I gave 4.5 stars. I watched all 4 parts over the course of 3 days. Part 1 on the Monday, Part 2 and half of Part 3 on the Thursday, and the rest of Part 3 and Part 4 on the... the rest of part 3 and part 4 on the Wednesday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Same with War and Peace. Watched part 1 on the Monday, part 2 on the Tuesday, and part 3 and 4 on the Wednesday. Excellent films. War and Peace I gave 5 stars. Brilliantly made film. Napoleon is very interesting, very distinct. It's the 5.5 hour version. I believe there might be a 7 hour version available now, coming to 4K. Holy shit. I obviously talk a lot more in the other video, so go ahead and check that one out. But great films, highly recommend them. War and Peace is a fucking spectacle. On the 7th, I watched Weapons, gave it 4 stars. Really funny. Like, it's got a good solid 40 minutes of tense scariness, great atmosphere, fun characters, really interesting Magnolia-style storytelling. And then it's fucking hilarious as shit. Good stuff. Keen as hell for whatever else the director comes out with, because of course he did Barbarian, and that was terrific. So I'm excited. Good stuff. On the 8th, I got to watch a preview screening, because in Australia, the movie doesn't come out until the 28th, which, as of recording, it's still, like, 6 days away. What the fuck? But my mate and I went and watched a preview screening on the 8th of August. Gave it 4 stars. I think it's my favourite Naked Gun film. It's absolutely hilarious. I still prefer the TV show, the Police Squad TV show. Fantastic. But this adapts some jokes from that I have never seen on the big screen. I'm like, that was insane. I love that they did that. There's a whole very cheesy romantic section that becomes, for me, the funniest part of the film. Me and my friend were laughing so hard we were crying. The guy in front of us moved. He wasn't even laughing during the any other funny bit of the movie. The guy was just sitting there, and he just left. He came back a couple times, but it's like, why? Why are you sitting here why are you sitting here in this comedy if you can't appreciate the fact that people are laughing? You expect us to just sit there and be like, that was funny. No. Honest to God, wonderful film though, very funny. Pamela Anderson is terrific in it, Liam Neeson's great as well. On the 9th, I did a double feature of Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I watched the special edition cut, which I have a Skynet edition Blu-ray, so it's the least DNR, best looking, best sounding version of the film. I have seen all 3 cuts now. I don't care for the theatrical cut, weirdly, because that was on the UHD disc. Fuck that release. But I grew up with the special edition. I love the special edition. I don't dislike the extended special, which has just got the alternate ending where it shows you what 2029 looks like and how it's all peace and happiness, whatever. It's very what the future looks like according to the 80s and 90s kind of level of cheese. But it's also a bonus feature on the disc. You can watch it as part of the film with the secret code, or you can watch it as a bonus feature. Either way, terrific film, 4.5 stars. Yeah, it's not a masterpiece in contrast to the first one. I'm sorry, I just don't think of it that way. Anyway, I watched that with The Toxic Avenger Part 3, The Last Temptation of Toxie, which I gave 2.5 stars. I watched the 4K, it's fine. It definitely needed more of the stupid humor, like the kind of gross out kind of humor. It was going too much for the stupid humor and boring story. The first 2/3 are fine, enjoyable, but the last, half, 45 minutes, whatever of it, is really rough. Yeah, I wasn't really appreciative of that last 30-odd minutes. It's just a boss battle with the devil, I guess. It's really poorly made. It's trying to do video game stuff. It's stupid. It's okay, but not great. But then I watched, on the 10th, Citizen Toxie, The Toxic Avenger Part 4, which I gave 2 stars, which was just really dumb comedy. It has interesting elements again, like the 2 different worlds, like 2 different versions of Toxie and stuff like that. It opening with Kaufman being like, this is the best film we ever made, and it's the most proud I've ever been. You're gonna love it. We've retconned out the second and third film and gone straight as a sequel to the first one. And I'm like, is this the first time anyone's ever done that? Because this is pre-Superman Returns. So, are there any other retcon sequels that I don't know about? Because this might be one of the first. It's not a hugely important retcon sequel, nor is it a hugely important film. It's not a very good film. I gave it 2 stars. I was not chuffed with it. It has the dumb offensive humor, which I'm okay with because it's fucking trauma. But, it didn't go for any of the stupid, gross, outlandish stuff that the first 2 films had, so yeah, it kind of lost its way for me. Yeah, anyway. Watched it on 4K. Then I went on Disney Plus because I wanted to watch something that would maybe actually make me laugh. So I watched Freaky Friday. I'd never seen Freaky Friday before. It turns out pretty good film. I gave it 3.5 stars. Keen for the sequel, but again, I'll probably just wait to stream that as well because fuck Disney. I'm not going to go buy your movies at the cinema. Fuck off. I'm not watching Fan 4 Stick again for the first time. Is it called The First Steps? I didn't see it. I don't care. But Freaky Friday, fun, good cast. Jamie Lee Curtis is great. Lindsay Lohan is great. Them body swapping is great. The way that they're able to play the characters that had already been set up was really cool. So that was great to see. Yeah, it was a good body swap film. On the 11th, I watched The Bridge Too Far because it's 3 hours long, and I felt like watching a 3-hour-long movie. I'm insane. But it's from 1977. It's remastered by Imprint Films on their 4K release. And it looks great. It's an excellent set. Expensive, but very good. It has a lot of interesting elements to it, like the British nature of it being like a more pessimistic look at war, but also the Americanism stuff where, hey, maybe we win a little bit of the fights, but not all of them. Huge cast, though. Insane cast. On the 12th, we went out for Myth and watched Chain Reactions, which I gave 4 stars. This is a documentary talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre from the perspective of 5 different people and their relationship with the film, including friend of the channel, Alexander Helen Nicholas. I didn't know what else to put in there. She's a friend, she's a film critic, she's a wonderful fucking person. I've got plenty of her books, I've got a fuck ton of movies that she's done commentaries for and essays and shit. She's a wonderful person, and she's in this, and she was there as well, and did a Q&A of the director afterwards, so when Umbrella does their eventual Blu-ray release of it, which they will be, because they even said, this is for Umbrella, so it'll be coming out in a couple months, and I will have been in the room for that, which is excellent. But yeah, it's a very particular style for the director who was also there. I didn't realize he was the guy who did Memory, the documentary about Alien, but he also did another one I think I've seen as well. He did Lynch Oz. I haven't seen that one, but I've heard that it's a glorified video essay, which I'm like, that's kind of his style. I realized that after watching this Chain Reactions films, is that he doesn't make documentaries, he even said this in the Q&A, he doesn't make documentaries with the cast and crew of the original film to get their perspective on the making of the film, because it's like there's usually always a bunch of those, especially for Texas Chainsaw. There's a fuck ton of documentaries already that exist interviewing those people, if those people even wanted to be interviewed to begin with. And so, in this case, it's looking at like a celebrity kind of thing. Like you get Patton Oswalt, you get Takashi Miike, you get Stephen King. There's a good, healthy amount of faces in there talking about their life and their influences and just the effect that Texas Chainsaw had on them. And I think it's really interestingly documented. The Stephen King part is exceptionally long, but aside from that, it was really enjoyable. The Takashi Miike part is really fun, because even the director said, most people left during the Takashi Miike part. It's like, yeah, because it shows his fucked up movies. It's great. Which reminds me, I still got to watch Ichi the Killer. But if you haven't seen some Takashi Miike films, it does spoil some scenes from them. So I would highly recommend watching Audition before you watch Chain Reactions. Also, watch Texas Chainsaw before you watch it as well. There were people in the audience who had never seen it before, and I'm like, this documentary literally tells you what happens in the last scene. It documents the whole movie. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, some people just do that. On the 13th, I double featured Superman, the movie. It's just called Superman on Letterboxd. I watched the 4K, gave it 4 stars. Loved it a bit less than I did last time because I think it's a bit too messy in contrast to what I remembered enjoying about it. Especially once you get to the Lex Luthor part and you realize, what the fuck is up with this Lex Luthor part? He's just there and then he's just like, oh, I'm gonna like destroy like LA so I can do real estate. This guy only cares about real estate. Every fucking Lex Luthor movie I've seen, he's just cared about real estate. I'm like, does he do anything else? I've watched 3 movies with him in it. Oh, 4, because there's... Actually, no. Superman 1, 2, 4, Returns, and the new Superman movie. There's 5 Superman movies, and all he gives a fuck about is real estate. Actually, no, that's wrong. Superman Quest for Peace, he doesn't care about real estate. He cares about the sun. Because he wants to make another Superman to kill Superman. What a movie. Anyway, Superman the movie, pretty great. Gave it 4 stars. Superman 2, I watched the original version. I have seen the Donner cut, much better, the Donner cut. But I gave this one 3 stars. It's okay. It's very long. It's 2 hours. It's ridiculously long. It's very messy, very sloppy. Terrence Stamp, who passed away a few days after I watched the movie, is great as Zod. It's got its ups and downs. It's a movie. It's very messy. But then, of course, you get Superman 3. And now I got Superman 3 and 4 and 4K. I'd never seen them before. Got them for $10 each. Thank God. I kind of wish I hadn't bought Superman 3 in the end, because Superman 3 fucking sucks. Richard Pryor, the movie featuring Superman. The Superman parts are pretty good. The part where he fights himself but as Clark, pretty good. Very Nightmare on Elm Street-esque in the whole junkyard. Gotta love it. The rest of the movie really sucks. Really bad. Awful. Richard Pryor wasn't funny at all, and I'm like, this is depressing, because I heard this guy's really funny. I've never seen him in a funny role before, and I'd love to have seen him in a funny role. I guess not. Anyway, I saw a clip on Instagram the other day from another movie where he plays a waiter, and that was infinitely more funny than any single scene in Superman 3 put together. So yeah, I gave that movie a 1.5 stars. Bad. Superman 4: The Quest of Peace, on the other hand, I gave 2.5 stars, because I think it's a better movie, because it's 90 minutes, it does all the Superman stuff, including having 2 love interests. I know the previous one technically did as well, because it had Lana Lang as well as Lois Lane, but Lois Lane fucked off to Hawaii because she didn't want to be in the movie. Smart choice, Margot Kidder. And Lana Lang is played by Annette O'Toole. She's great, but what a bad movie. Either way, she redeemed herself, I guess, by doing the Smallville show, which she's also fantastic in. But Superman Quest of Peace, outside of having a 5-minute fight scene with, maybe even a 10-minute fight scene with Radioactive Man, which I definitely fell asleep during because it was that boring, I was pretty tired. But I was like, man, this movie's okay. The first hour I did enjoy. I was like, it's okay. It's still a canon film. It's got that low-budget cheapness to it. Every time Superman's flying, it's just the same clip over and over again. But at least he looks better. He looks healthier. It's got a message of, hey, let's get rid of nuclear weapons because they're bad. And, well, that's a good point. That's got more of a message than Superman 3 had, that's for fucking sure. Because, in the third one, he looks old and just tired. But then in the fourth one, he looks young and new again. It's what happened? This is how many years between? This is 4 years between movies and he looks younger? What the fuck? So, anyway. On the 15th, I watched the 4K of High Noon, gave it 4 stars. Don't think it needed the 4K UHD. It's got good black and white cinematography, but it's not iconic, great cinematography. It's more of its narrative that makes it more iconic, and its cast. Gary Cooper is really interesting. Grace Kelly is great in it. Got some good character actors as well. Lloyd Bridges is in there what a cast. It's got a really interesting story. I didn't expect it to be literally real time leading up to the infamous High Noon. I was expecting it to just be some dueling and shit, and it's nope. It's just Anxiety, the movie. It's very good. I technically triple featured that day because I also watched Deep Blue Sea from '99, the new 4K UHD, which I highly recommend the 4K UHD if you're going to buy the film. It looks incredible on UHD. I got the limited edition because Lee contributed to the commentary, and I really enjoyed the film. I gave it 3.5 stars. It's cheesy, stupid, fun, dumb shit. It's explosive. The sound design is incredible because it's just so loud everywhere. The dialogue was a bit quiet, but that might have been because I got a heater right in the center of the fucking room, and I had explosions behind me. What a day. But I enjoyed it. It has some goofy CGI stuff, but for the most part, I really enjoyed the story, the characters, the direction it went in. It's still stupid as hell. It's a stupid, dumb, eco-horror film, and I fucking love that shit, so I ate it up. So much so that I immediately put on the commentary track, which made me watch the film a second time, because I listened to the commentary with the screenwriter, Duncan Kennedy, who's done fuck all else but this movie and its 2 sequels that came out 25 years later. It was a very interesting commentary track. I knew that Lee produced it. He's not featured on it whatsoever, but I still really enjoyed it. I thought it was really interesting. It kept me listening the whole time. So that's good. It was good. Good set. 10 out of 10. Good job. Good job, Arrow. On the 16th, I went to MIF, watched The Mastermind, which I gave 4 stars. It's one of the few movies I think I've had that since watching it, I've still thought about it almost every single day. And I'm just like thinking about it, and I realize, oh my god, I'm still thinking about this movie. Like, that really ever happens to me where I'm still thinking about a movie after I've seen it. Which sounds bad, but I do watch a lot of movies, which also sounds bad. But I gave it 4 stars. Really well made. Really, like, I definitely want to rewatch it because it's a lot funnier than I kind of realized. Like, I had a guy next to me who seemed very antsy. He was shaking around a lot of the time, occasionally talking to himself. It was a bit concerning, but my mate who was with me on the other side was fucking having a ball. A lot of people were laughing, packed crowd at MIF at the Astor. Really interesting. Great cast, funny story. About a mastermind who plans out a art heist, and then everything just goes cock up right after he steals the paintings. Good cast, nice set design, pretty good. And then we went to the IMAX and watched The Toxic Avenger, which is technically a 2023 movie because that's how fucking long ago they made it. But it finally got its premiere in Australia, and one of its earliest premieres anywhere. And it was fun. I gave it 3.5 stars. I'm happy that I've seen it, especially after having watched the other 4. It's definitely probably maybe the second best Toxic Avenger film in my mind. Like, it's maybe on par with Toxic 2, but at the same time, it has enough of its own life to it. It feels like its own different film where it's not as cheap and schlocky as, like, the original films were, but it has new updated effects. You got a good cast. Peter Dinklage is great in it. I kind of wish he was in more of it. Toxie looks really interesting. It's got gore, and despite this being even titled the unrated cut because it said The Toxic Avenger unrated on the big screen. It actually said that in the credits, which is insane. It could have been gorier. Like, the mop, which is basically a big stick, becomes just like hit a person and their jaw comes off, or hit a person and their head explodes. And that's about it. It's usually like a one-punch death kind of thing. Like, it's not like Toxie ain't flipping this shit around and like stabbing people and going fucking ape shit. And if Toxie is doing that, we're not seeing it because sometimes they would cut away from shots like that. So it's like, you know, for dramatic effect. So yeah, it definitely had elements where it could have improved, but I thought the story was good. It has a good heart, it had a good story, and it doesn't feel as cheap and schlocky as the original, but it has enough references that Troma fans enjoyed, so, you know, it's good for new audiences, good for older audiences. I guess that's the kind of takeaway you want. I'm also featured in the review from Umbrella, because they interviewed me about it. Wasn't that great? I got a free movie out of it. On the 18th, I watched Sky High. I gave it 4.5 stars. I got the Blu-ray in, and I should really compare it to the DVD, because the DVD that I have might have at least 2 more special features, which kind of sucks. I'm hoping that they're all still on the Blu-ray, but I got to double check. I think one's a music video, so maybe for licensing reasons they got rid of that, which is fine by me. I don't really care. I love this film. I gave it 4.5 stars. It's one of my favorite superhero films in general. I love it every time more on rewatch. And sometimes I need to be in a good headspace for it, I guess, because last time I watched it, I gave it 4 stars, and I'm like, this would be a 5-star film if I was in a happier place. And I looked at the date, and it was like August 2020. I'm like, oh, right, that explains it. I wanted comfort, but I was depressed. Woof. But this time, I wanted comfort, and I wasn't depressed, so I had a fucking blast. I also think it's really well written. It has a great, like, diverse range of themes. Like, it has characters that I really relate to, which is very rare for a superhero film. Like, the main character, despite being the non-powered, but has 2 superpowered parents, it's a film where that's a thing. It's about high school. They go to a superhero high school thing, and each person has at least one superpowered parent, and that's where they get their powers from, you know. Oh, this guy has a fire-breathing dad. Well, guess what? He has fire-breathing power. You know, shit like that. But sometimes they're random powers. A guy glows in the dark. A girl turns into a guinea pig. One guy turns into a pile of slime. All kinds of shit. It's got some fun effects as well, like the visual effects still hold up really well for a 2006 film, 2005. Great cast as well. I mean, come on, fucking Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Her, she's wonderful. I love her. Don't tell Ewan. But yeah, this is like the first film that I ever saw her in, and I've just been in love with her ever since. Still not going to watch Ahsoka, but love just her existence. Great choice. But yeah, it's just all the characters are like just fun and interesting characters, and like all the like good guy best friends of the main character, they're not too cheesy or cheap or cliche. Like they're naturally like socially awkward because they live in a school where the bullies have superpowers, and shit like that. So you still get your regular high school dynamics, but with superpowers applied to it. But they're also just like a good bandwagon of characters that you can get behind. And I like how, despite the kind of cliche narrative of the main character, when he gets powers, joins the cool kids, he like pretty immediately realizes, hey, shit, I actually still want to hang out with my friends, but these people who have more power in the school are forcing me to hang out with them, and I'm not cool with that. What the fuck's going on? Turns out they're the bad guys. Like, genuinely, they're the supervillains. It's great. And it's got Kurt Russell. It's got a great cast. Anyway, on the 19th, I watched, hell of a double feature, Superman Returns from 2006. I gave it 3 stars. It is okay. I watched the DVD. I wish I had a Blu-ray copy of this. Well, I've only ever seen it on DVD. In HD, I'd probably like it a bit more. It has a very particular texture that would look great in HD that doesn't translate well on DVD. Holy shit. CGI Superman, bad choice. Brandon Routh with contact lenses to, I guess, look like Christopher Reeve. Bad choice. It being a technically sequel to Superman 2, okay choice. It's one of those up and down things where it's like, we're going for that continuity, I guess. It's considered more like nowadays you'd consider it a spiritual sequel, but they're technically saying that it was still a sequel because all the events that happened in Superman 1 and 2 still existed to at least a degree, like with the relationship with Lex and everything. They never talk about like Zod or anyone else. They just don't talk about any of that shit. But it's very clear that this is a direct sequel to those, like that Superman had sex with Lois, that's why there's a kid who is Superman's son, but is half human, so his powers are different. There's elements like that where the characters remember each other, like Lex remembers Lois because they've interacted before, even though she acts like a very different person. The cast seems very off, like Kevin Spacey, who I do like as an actor. Say what you will about him now. I don't fucking know what ballpark to land in, but he's a good actor. The problem is, in this one, he's playing Gene Hackman playing Lex Luthor. I don't like that. Like, but that's what they're going for, because it's like, hey, we're doing a continuation of that. He has to be this, and Brandon Routh has to be the Christopher Reeve Superman, but he doesn't pull off the Clark Kent. He does a decent Superman, but I don't think he pulls off Clark Kent. Especially the way that Christopher Reeve did it. And the woman who plays Lois Lane, I feel like she's the worst offender in a way, because Kate Bosworth, because she is nothing like Margot Kidder. I mean, it has Parker Posey, that's great, Parker Posey's wonderful, but it's just like, why, if you're gonna do that, like everyone has to be like the counterparts of the original films, why is this Lois like absolutely nothing like the original Lois? At all. She just feels like a completely different character. It's very weird. But yeah, it's an okay film. It's really long. It's kind of boring. It's okay. Some of the spectacle stuff is still nice because, again, wow, look, we can do this stuff, but we've got CGI, so it can look better, and it doesn't have to be weirdly comped in. I'm like, yeah, but now Superman is half the time completely CGI, and it looks awful. Because it just looks dodgy. It doesn't look like bad effects. It just doesn't look real, Anyway. And then, why am I watching all these fucking superhero films? We got Captain America from 1990. You know that one? Is it Alex Poyen? Albert Poyen. Not a bad film if you watch the correct version. My friend had a technically bootleg Blu-ray. I don't think it's a bootleg Blu-ray. It's got the logo and everything. After Poyen died, a fan of his works was able to get from his Pion's widow the work print version, which was like the longest version of the film, re-edited properly, where it actually utilizes flashbacks and stuff like that. It's not a linear story, it's non-linear, but it uses the non-linear stuff for dramatic effect really well. huge props for it actually being a compelling story. I gave it 2.5 stars because it still falls flat on like budgetary stuff and some overall cheapness. The action scenes aren't great, but the Red Skull stuff is great. Like, he looks really cool as Red Skull, and then he looks really interesting when he's 50 years later. His whole final sequence is really crazy. He just has a whole piano solo and then dies. Fucking nuts film. It's got an interesting cast. It's got an interesting story of, like, again, it's still showing Steve in the 90s because it's been 50 years since he was frozen in Alaska or whatever. But it has this weird and very unique story where it's like, hey, you know how all of his friends are basically dead now? Yeah, that's what he deals with for like the first hour of the movie. It's just figuring out if this is all real and that he's actually in the future, or the present, or the past for us. And then once he comes to terms with that, he has to find people that he knew, and he goes to find his whole love interest, only to find out that she's now like in her 80s and has a granddaughter who is hot, by the way. And yeah, it's just like, they use old people makeup, which is really interesting. He sees like some of his old colleagues, like his old commander, because he wants to get his mission brief, and his commander has Alzheimer's and doesn't know who the fuck he is, but remembers Captain America. But then like he'll just forget stuff after like a 5-minute conversation. It's really interesting. Like, it's actually super fucking depressing. It's like, you don't really get that with the new, Captain America, the first Avenger. Like, the only person he cared about was Bucky, and Bucky fucking died until he was brought back as the Winter Soldier, But aside from that, and like Peggy, of course, but that's it. It's just Peggy and Bucky, just two people. And that's it. There's no Bucky in this 1990 version. But I think it's definitely worth checking out. It's very interesting, and I definitely have more of an appreciation for it, even though I didn't consider it so highly. Because, again, mostly budget and some editing choices, because it's a work print version, so there's a lot of rough editing to it. It's not perfect in terms of at least the edit. Some sound effects are off here. The image goes black and really dirty and whatever in some sequences because it's not a cleaned up remastered print. It's just slapped onto a Blu-ray disc and out you go. So yeah, it's very interesting though. I would recommend it over the theatrical cut, which I've never seen and I've heard is abysmal. So I would highly recommend this version instead. And then on the 20th, I watched I Know Catherine the Log Lady, which is the documentary about what's her name again? Catherine Coulson. Catherine Coulson, who plays the Log Lady in Twin Peaks. It's a documentary about her life. I crowdfunded it. I was one of 1,500 odd people. I was not credited in the credits because I didn't pay $100, which would have been probably 100 USD, so I didn't pay maybe 160 bucks. Instead, I paid about 70 because it was a $35 thing, so I could get digital access. And You Don't Know Jack, which is a documentary about the guy who was in Jack Nance, who was in Eraserhead, which I still haven't watched that, and I think I still have a link to it, I hope, because I paid for it and I just never watched it. Turns out I don't like streaming, who would have thought? But I got the chance to stream this the day it was available for streaming, as part of my exclusive link, and like, you gotta create an account on this website, and then you can link it to other people, and you get paid if you link it. I'm like, yeah, but I don't get real money out of it, and you get the actual money, so I'm not gonna do that, I'm just gonna watch it myself. If I really liked it, I would have shared it, and allowed people probably to just log in with my username and password. But I didn't bother with any of that stuff. It wasn't great. I gave it 3 stars, because it still has more information than I ever knew about her. And it goes in a non-linear sense of like between 2014 to 2016 when she found out she had cancer to when she died, and then flicking back to like her past with her youth, and then to Eraserhead, and then for the years between Eraserhead and Twin Peaks, and then from Twin Peaks onwards. It shouldn't have been non-linear. It should have been linear because they rush a lot of the stuff. Like, the first half an hour is really, 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 really fast-paced. They just keep cutting away from people, and you can tell that, like, what would be a 30-second or 10-second line of dialogue from a person becomes 3 seconds or 10 seconds, and it's, like, 3 seconds for a 10-second clip, for a 30-second, they cut it down to, like, 10 seconds. It's really like no gaps kind of thing. It's just go, 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 go. We got to get to Eraserhead. Nobody gives a shit about her past. We just want to get to the David Lynch stuff. That's why we're all here. And I'm like, no, slow the fuck down. This is an hour and 50-minute long doco that could have been 2 hours and 20 minutes if they had to just let it fucking breathe. Like, this isn't gonna go for theatrical release, and though it did, because what do you call it? It had like premiere screenings that they organized in like LA and whatever the fuck. If you were in America, which I obviously wasn't, no fucking shit. Also, we were promised this film in 2019, and it's 2025. I've been waiting 7 fucking years for it. Most people thought this was a scam in the end because of how long it took. And Richard Green, the guy who created the project, who directed it, who edited it, who did the music for it, should have gotten a second opinion on a lot of it. So many criticisms I have. As much as the information is good, a lot of it's repetitive, but it's still good enough. And I do like the last 20 odd minutes where they talk about her actually fucking dying and working on Twin Peaks: The Return. And just her career. They have a lot of dwelling on her romantic life, which I'm like, is this okay? You see her tit at one stage. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. She was a free spirit. That's cool. You didn't really have to tell me that she had like multiple miscarriages and she couldn't bear children. Like, it's interesting stuff, I guess. It feels fucking rough because you're watching like her ex-partners basically say like, oh yeah, we were fucking assholes. Like once she had a miscarriage, I basically couldn't look at her as a human being anymore. I'm like, what the fuck is this documentary saying? Holy shit, these people are, I mean, human, but oh my god. Like, they're very self-aware. Like, one of the guys in particular who was her husband for a while, who eventually kind of came out as gay, and then they still got, like, were fine by the end of her life, was like, oh, this is making me look like such a bad person. Like, he's realizing how fucked up of a situation they had. So there's a lot of stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, we could have maybe just focused on her career as a, film tech, as an actor, as an artist. There's a lot of cool shit. She worked on Wrath of Khan, which they briefly mention. There's just, like, very, I don't know, they could have talked about a lot more stuff. Maybe if they got rid of the stuff about... It kind of works in tangent, the fact that they mention her personal life with her romantic struggles and sexual liberation, whatever, because it becomes part of a play that she does later on. But they could have put all that information there, because then you contextualize what you're talking about while you're talking about it, instead of getting to it later, you know? But again, all those years up until the Razorhead is just really quickly cut. The editing is messy as shit, and you can tell because the guy who directed it, edited it, and it's fucking awful. The sound design is really bad. Sometimes the music is really loud in contrast to what the people are saying. Cinematography-wise, you can tell that they did some bad choices there because they only shot with one camera. It's the kind of thing where if you got a documentary, use 2 cameras, minimum. Like, I shoot interviews. The 2 camera setup has been a lifesaver, because if the first camera looks like shit, you cut to the second one. And a lot of the time, even if it is a weird edit, you just do it. Because, like, for me in particular, this camera will go out of focus in a wide shot, but then the other camera will look perfect. And, so it's like, oh shit, this camera's gone out of focus, let's jump to the other. Of course, I'm with a camcorder. He would probably have thousands of dollars worth of equipment, assuming that he would, because he did a fucking crowdsourcing backing thing. But all these things were just single camera things, so if he wanted to add dramatic effect, or if he wanted to have the image move a bit, he had to digitally zoom into it. And I'm like, no, why are you doing that? It looks awful. There's a whole part where David Lynch is talking about something. He talks about a thing being grey, and the camera just zooms into the background, like in the edit, because there's a grey background, which is so poorly lit. It's just a bunch of crinkly, like, splotches, because it's like it's like digital artifacts and shit. It looks really bad. There's even a part where Lynch is talking about, like, transcendental meditation, and the image just keeps washing around and shit. There's even a part where that ex-partner I mentioned was talking about something, and it zooms in on him, and then, like he's here, and it zooms in a bit here, and then he starts moving like this, and then the edit has to go like that. Instead of just cutting to a wide, to the original shot, it moves with him. Like, does this guy not know how to fucking edit shit? It's really annoying. So, apart from the technical pieces of shit that I spent my money on, the information was decent, but oh my god. Anyway, And then last night I watched The Limey, which I gave 4.5 stars. I watched the Umbrella Blu-ray, this again because Terrence Stamper passed away, and I was like, I'm going to buy The Limey. I don't have The Limey yet. And The Limey is very good. I highly recommend The Limey. Good film, very interesting, very funny, very action-packed, whatever. Good crime film. Steven Soderbergh, well-directed, good shit. What else did we watch? Alright, next up we have The Flintstones 1994. Got the DVD in because I bought it for $1 at an op shop. Watched it. It was fantastic. I gave it 4 stars. I do not understand why it has so much kind of disdain and disliking on the internet. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? This is exactly the same as one of the cartoon episodes, except it's an hour and a half, it's live action, has one of the best production designs I've ever fucking seen because it brings everything to life in such a way. The cast is impeccable. Elizabeth Perkins, who plays Wilma, is just... I never thought Wilma could look hot, and here we are. I mean, Halle Berry is obviously the sex icon in the film, and she looks it, and she's still great. She's still a fun character. Kyle MacLachlan's great. John Goodman's great. Rick Moranis is an interesting choice. I don't dislike him, though. Rosie O'Donnell is pretty fun as well as Betty. Elizabeth Taylor's in it. Fucking, what is up with this cast? Absolutely insane cast. Insane production design. Just really fun. It's cartoonish. It's enjoyable. It's like, man, when they say they don't make movies like they used to, this is like one of those of like, this is such a pre-9/11 film that you just don't get this shit anymore. And because I was kind of on that, ramblings of, let's watch an adaptation of like a classic sitcom or something. So I watched the Brady Bunch movie, which I had seen parts of it the other night, a couple of nights ago, because it was on Foxtel or whatever. And luckily I missed the big reason how they got the house back in the end, which is great, so I was able to enjoy that whole number. But I enjoyed the film. I gave it 3.5 stars. I've got a Blu-ray 2-pack of the first 2 films. There is a third one that they won't let you see because they go and assassinate the president. But, that's just a Tuesday. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was really fun. It really plays into the whole, these people were like delusional 70s folk in the 90s. And I love it. It's great. Jan being the main character, 10 out of 10, no notes. She's absolutely insane. A fucking amazing cast. The throwbacks to the original show is great as well, like those that are actually references directly to episodes, like Marsha getting her nose smacked in and shit like that. It's just really fun, It's campy, it's fun, it doesn't take itself too seriously, but it also knows when to just be like, hey, we're being like a commentary on like 90s culture, but also, hey, isn't it crazy that these people still think it's maybe the 70s, or just dressed like that? It's never really implied that they still think it's the 70s. That's just the way that they think and act. It's very funny. Then on the 23rd, I went to MIF again and saw 1000 Women in Horror. I don't believe there's a proper poster for the movie, so I'm going to use the image of Alex's book, because Alexandra Helenicolas wrote the book that the documentary is based on, and I was really interested to see how it's going to adapt it, because the book is looking at 1000 Women in Horror, but it's just like individual blurbs on each person, whether they be a director, an actor, a writer, a set designer, or a costume designer, all kinds of stuff, a musician, so many different aspects, because there is obviously a lot more than 1000 Women in Horror, which even Alex herself said, that's the joke of the book, is that there is much more than 1000 women. It's just kind of crazy that you can put 1000 and there's still more. And it's a really hell of a chunky book. I've even bought, I have a copy of Suspiria by Alex as well. It's a smaller book, which I got signed by her the same night, because she was there with the director. She did a Q&A, and I'm friends with her. Alex, she's part of the Cinemaniacs, friends with Lee, friends with all of us. And it was great, because again, I saw Chain Reactions earlier in the month at MIF, with again her Q&A with the other director, with that director, and this is a different director. So, both of them are not from Australia. Like, I believe Chain Reactions is a American director, and he might be French. His name is like Alexandre Philippe or something, but still. And then 1000 Women in Horror is a Canadian director, Donna Davies. And she was great. Her voice was fucked because obviously she's been talking a lot over the past couple of days because of Myth. But she was really nice to chat with as well. I'm pretty sure her partner was there, and he was, they're all fucking nice. We got to chat after the show. It was just wonderful. It was so fucking nice. It was such a great doco. I gave it 4.5 stars. It's, again, I didn't know what to expect, and it takes this approach of like the talking head thing, but they analyze certain elements of certain films, but they're just documenting the idea of women in cinema. In terms of like the representation of horror cinema, going from like childhood and adolescence, going for some key particular roles, but also just a generalization. But like, an accurate enough generalization. This is how women are portrayed as kids. Like they're either the cutesy ones, but in horror, they're the evil kids. They're the kids that are secretly murderers and shit like that, or they're doll-like figures and stuff like a Interview with the Vampire and stuff like that. And it works throughout them being a teenager, through them to being early adulthood, to then jumping all the way to the end of their lives, basically, because as Alex and the director said after the fact, there's just no movies that show like menopause or any of that part of the woman's life in movies, in horror movies, so they couldn't include any of that, so they just had to skip over it, which sucks. But the pregnancy, motherhood side of it was the most interesting part. For me, I think I had a panic attack. I don't know, I still don't know what the name is when it feels like all of the blood in your body has just vanished from you and you feel insanely nauseous and you want to faint but you don't know how to. Yeah, I had that and I was sitting in the middle of the row surrounded by all my friends. I'm like, do I get up and leave or do I try to sit through this? And then they went straight into Cujo after it and I'm like, I need to sit through this because Lee would hate me if I left. I was alright. I just sat up instead of sitting back into the chair. I sat forward and just had some water and just hoped that I would just be okay, and I was fine. But it's because one of the people who does the talking, this is, what is it? Is it Kate Siegel? She has a very descriptive monologue. I won't spoil what it's about, but it's to do with childbirth, and it's fucking graphic, and I didn't look at most of the images that were on screen, some of them from the Alien films, because I didn't really need that kind of association, even though it is very much that association. Trust me, you use your imagination, and you already want to throw up. Insane. She even says, oh, if you don't want to hear about this, skip a minute. I'm like, I can't, bitch, I'm in the fucking theatre. 10 out of 10, no notes, excellent job. But yeah, I gave the film 4.5 stars. It is a very, very interesting documentary. It could have been hours long. I'm insanely amazed by it. It's meant to be on Shudder at some stage throughout the year. I would love there to be a fucking physical media release. I very much doubt it because Shudder. But sometimes they do Blu-ray releases, so now that it's got an official release, and I think it's coming out, I think it's premiering in Sydney sometime either August or September. I think once that's done, the hope is that Shudder will actually release it. So, yeah, but yeah, again, one of those films where I just know a bunch of like behind-the-scenes knowledge about it. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to say any of that online. I don't need to get anyone in trouble, even though Shudder's not going to watch my video shitting on them. Just release the fucking doco, please. Put it on a Blu-ray. You do it for a bunch of other horror movies that nobody cares about. Do it for this. People will buy it. I will buy it. I'll buy 10 copies. I probably won't even need to. I imagine Hyundai will buy a fucking 1,000 and we'll just sell them at the Cinemaniacs. Anyway, on the 24th I did a triple feature. I watched Wolfman from 2025. Yeah, that one. I bought the 4K for Dad for his birthday. His birthday's in September. Yeah, I know, it's only September now you're watching this. Yeah, his birthday's not until the 14th. I got it from Play Music DVD. They had an unsealed copy, so I'm like, you know what, I'll buy it. And they had it there for $18. And I got a discount on all the things I bought anyway, so I got it for less than 18, which is great for a 4K. Especially of one that my friends were like, why would you buy that? And then I watched it. I really liked it. I gave it 3.5 stars. Criticism for criticism's sake, shouldn't be called Wolfman, shouldn't have never been a Wolfman film. Stupid. The guy doesn't turn into a fucking wolf. He does turn into a creature. Great. 10 out of 10. Love it. Practical effects, great. The set design, great. Cast, great. Story, interesting enough. Dialogue, not great. Very on the nose of its themes. I get it. Parental trauma, it's a thing. Oof. My low dislikes of the film is the obvious themes that it's talking about, because it's really fucking obvious. It's like beating you up with how obvious it is with its themes, and I'm like, I get it, just be scary. But the creature effects were great. Again, he doesn't turn into a wolfman, he just turns into a creature of the night. It's not like he sees a full moon and turns into a wolf. None of that shit happens. He gets infected by another wolf creature, and who obviously is his dad, because who else would it be? And yeah, it's just like, okay, but props where there are props. The sound design was fucking insane. Visually, it looked really nice. I heard complaints from Red Letter Media that it looked too dark, and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? This looked great. And then you realize that there's a perspective switch about 50 minutes in, where you go from like the guy's perspective, where things are brighter, to the girl's perspective, and you realize, oh, it's really dark. But it's really dark on purpose, because it's the middle of the fucking night and there's no power. And they're in a basement. And you realize he's got a different perspective, because he's changing into something that can exist at nighttime and see things better. And it's really well played in the visual design of the film, and it looks fantastic. But when, of course, it's almost pitch black, it is really hard to see shit, because you're not meant to be able to see as much stuff. Neither are they. But they utilize that in the scenes. There's a scene in the barn where you're looking from her perspective and it's dark and you don't know where the creature is, and that's a good thing. It's meant to be scary. And then the camera will cut to the creature looking for them, and it's from its perspective, and things are heightened in its lighting and everything, and it looks really interesting. But they use that as a cutaway shot where it's going like around in a circle between like him, who, as he's turned into a creature, and either his daughter or his wife, and like they're speaking, and then they start to go mumbled, and it sees in his vision where it's all differently coloured, and then when he's talking, all they can hear are growls. It's really interesting how they do perspective changes, but again, in that same barn sequence, like, he's right in front of them and they can't see him, and then he steps on a fucking bear trap and she turns the light on, and it's like, okay, cool, this is great. So, I don't know, I really enjoyed it. I gave it 3.5 stars. Shouldn't have been called Wolfman. Stupid idea. Watching the behind-the-scenes stuff, which was really interesting, especially seeing the production of the film and how they made the creature, and then being like, yeah, we want to do a different thing, and he's like an infected thing instead of being like the traditional Wolfman. I'm like, then don't call it Wolfman. If he doesn't share the characteristics of the Wolfman that you are fucking adapting, and trust me, they are, it was all deliberate. They're emphasizing throughout that whole fucking video where they're like, yeah, the fans will love it. They like Wolfman, and maybe they want to see a bit of a different thing. I'm like, yeah, difference is great, but it needs to still have enough similarities to be considered a Wolfman. This is just a dude who gets hairy and has long nails. That could just be anyone, you know. That doesn't need to be a Wolfman. He doesn't bark at the moon. He does get on all fours, mostly because he fucks up his leg. Like, there's just elements to it where he just is not a wolf, you know. He doesn't have the long ears or anything like that. There's so much. He doesn't have a snout. He kind of gets a snout to a degree, but yeah. Even the more evolved one that we see in the film doesn't look like a Wolfman either, and I'm like, don't call it Wolfman. Stupid idea. Anyway, I still enjoyed the film. I understand why people dislike it, but I'm like, I enjoyed it. I know my dad will enjoy it, because that's good enough for me. So I double featured that with The Beyond. The 4K from Grindhouse Releasing gave that 4 stars. Really fucking good 4K. Oh my god, it shits all over the Shameless release. And the film's still great. It has a great first 25 minutes. Really loses itself in just doing random shit. Like, the gore effects are great, and just atmosphere and ambiance, and that's what Fulci's all about, and I get it. I much prefer that one where there's a whole city of the living dead and whatever. And the ending is still fantastic. But yeah, it just meanders a lot in the middle, where just random shit happens, and then the ending just kind of slaps you in the face. Like, there's no real build-up to it, it just fucking happens. But it's great. It's still fun, great gore, great effects. Yeah, clearly hey, this one effect that we did in Zombie was really popular. Let's do that like 4 times. And like basically nothing else. It's kind of nuts. But yeah, the Grindhouse Releasing version is impeccable. Beautiful release. I also watched a Very Brady sequel on the same night. I gave that 3 stars. It was not as good as the first one. It doesn't have as much as the 90s humor, because of course, hey look, it's actually the 90s. They do that like in 2 different scenes, and then they go to Hawaii for like 10 minutes at the end. It's cute, It's amusing. It's got a lot of sex jokes, which I completely dig, especially because, again, most of these siblings aren't blood relatives, and then they realize, oh, fuck, we're not blood relatives, and that becomes a part of the gag. Yeah, it's fun. I enjoyed it. On the 25th, I double featured, technically one of them was a special feature, The Wild Bunch, with The Wild Bunch, an album in montage, which apparently was nominated for an Oscar or some shit. Either way, I watched the director's cut of The Wild Bunch on Blu-ray. Good. Really solid film. Not what I was expecting. Like, it has a great opening action set piece, and it took me a bit to get into it, but again, it's like a 2.5 hour long action, like Western, but it's a revisionist Western. It has blood, gore, titties, stuff you don't see in Westerns. I've rarely seen that stuff in Westerns before, and this one does it to a really great caliber. Like, again, the blood work is great, the squibs are great, tits, sure, why not? You know, it seems realistic and gritty and fucking violent as hell. And it's a really good story. It's really captivating. Like the characters really drew me in as the film went along. I really enjoyed it. It was great. I will definitely be down to watching it again. I can see why it's considered one of the greats for, you know, action films. But I think, well, for Westerns, it's just the posters of the Wild Bunch, and you see a bunch of guys. I'm like, oh, it's just going to be a Seven Samurai ripoff, and it's like, no, this is nothing like that. It's like an aging group of outlaws as America stops being the Wild West, and they're just kind of like, shit, we need to make one final score, but we're being chased by all the people who have been trying to kill us for years now. And yeah, it has great flashbacks to previous things set prior to the film. It has a great train section, train stuff in Westerns. Gotta love it. A bridge explodes. It's got good stuff. The montage of images thing that I watched, which was also on the Blu-ray. It also comes with a documentary about Peckinpah, Stan Peckinpah, the director, but I haven't seen any of his other films, so I'm going to wait until I've seen his other films. But the montage was good. It shows all this black and white footage of the making of, and encapsulates it in a really fun way. So I learned a lot of good things just from that alone. So yeah. Anyway, what else did we watch? And now what happened? It's for a costume. My friend Caitlin had a 35th birthday party, and she decided to have everyone be wizard and witchcraft themed. So I decided to shave my head and flesh out a goatee, and I wore a cloak and a top hat. It's fucking fun. I had a wand as well. It was a whole shindig. It was great. It just happened to be this minor coincidence that the exact next day there happened to be a very strong neo-Nazi rally in the city, and I'm like, oh, I'm staying home because I'm not a part of that shit. So if you get confused, I hate Nazis, bad people. Anyway, just thought I'd clear the air just in case. I don't like it when people associate bald-headed people with that, because I just find I find that to be offensive. I'm losing my hair to begin with. I kind of have to live with it. And this makes for a good costume. People thought I looked like, what was his name? Coffin Joe. Especially in costume. I probably won't have a picture there. I should, but I won't. But I should. Anyway, talking about bad things, I watched Fan 4 Stick. Yeah, I don't know. I was in a really, really, I need to watch this, because I was watching the Cosmonaut Variety Hour talking about the other two films, and he of course talked about the 2015 one, and I wanted to watch Fan 4 Stick, because I'm like, look, I've never seen it. I remember when it came out, and people I used to watch at the time, like, I don't know, Ralph the Movie Maker, I Hate Everything, those kind of really not great channels, would, talk about the film and use footage from trailers and stuff, so I had an idea of why it was bad, but I hadn't experienced it, and I experienced it on Disney+. I gave it 1 star. Fucking travesty. It's got a okay first hour, because it's actually being a real movie, and then it stops being a real movie right after they get their powers, and it's 5 minutes of body horror, and then it just cuts to a year later, and now it's just boring, and every character set up an arc that was set up, bam, gone, out the window. Nothing exists anymore. It's a piece of shit. What a travesty. It's just... oh my god, it's exactly like Superman: The Quest of Peace, where the first hour is decent, and then the last hour, half an hour, the 45 minutes, whatever. For this film, was this film 2 hours long? No, it was 100 minutes. So for the last 40 minutes of this film, it's just what the fuck's happening here? Travesty. Anyway, I watched The Crime of the Century because I wanted to watch a follow-up film that was actually potentially fun. And it was. It was a 1933 film. I gave it 4 stars. It is only like 74 minutes, holy shit. Directed by William Bodine. It's part of the Kino Lorber's line. I bought it because Lee did a commentary for, which I'm very excited for, because him and Alyssa Rose, who's a costume historian, she's excellent. I've seen her do live presentations, and she's amazing. Very keen for that commentary, but it was a really fun murder mystery film, where it's one of those classic noir films where they're like, oh, the main character is like the reporter, which is fucking gold, but it has all these twists and turns, and it even gets to the point where the film has so much going on that it pauses and like just has a moment where it talks to the camera and is like, hey audience, we know how noirs usually you can sit there and think about things, who could the murderer be, whatever, so we're going to give you a minute and a montage, and you can answer the question, who do you think the killer is? The joke is, they don't show you the killer in that montage. Very fun. Great film, 4 stars. On the 27th, I watched Return of the Living Dead 3 from 1993. This is the Vestron video Blu-ray release. Really solid release. Great video, great audio, great special features. There's a good interview between the director and the writer. Brian Usner directed it. I wasn't huge on the film. I gave it 3 stars. I'm like, it's enjoyable, but it's like, it doesn't have the heart, the comedy, the satire of the original two. It just is, like, to be fair, the second film, which I did actually watch earlier this year for Monster Fest, is basically just like almost a cheap remake of the first one, where it's got even the same characters and whatever, but it's just not as fun, and it's more Spielbergian in like where it's located and everything. So it's not as 80s, not as, grunge. Which is disappointing. Not as punk, that's what I should say. Grunge is more 90s. This film it's okay. The main character sucks shit, but his girlfriend, who's on the poster, who's incredible, is great. His girlfriend, who is Julie in the film, what's her actress's name? I like that even Letterboxd considers her as the main character. Melinda Clark, or Mindy Clark, as the film portrays her as. She is excellent. A lot of great body horror stuff, very Hellraiser-esque. It's just much more heavy sci-fi horror than the other 2 films were. So it's not really a great sequel. Not really great in the series, but I'm like, it's got great effects. I'll give it that. It's enjoyable for that alone. I double featured it with Sleepless in Seattle, because it turns out Return of the Living Dead Part 3 is actually a romance, because it is. And so I was like, you know what, let's also watch another romantic comedy, Sleepless in Seattle. Is it very funny? It's got that 90s humor, where it's like critical of like relationships and people being kind of just weird. The fact that this is probably the first big movie I think I've ever seen that's literally just, hey, parasocial relationships, what's the deal with that? Except it just, like, invents parasocial relationships. Like, Meg Ryan's character is like, here's this guy on the radio, that being Tom Hanks, the Sleepless in Seattle guy, and just falls in love with him, and just obsesses over him, and investigates everything about him, because she's a journalist, and then stalks him. And then they fall in love, I guess, at the, statue, the Empire State Building, which works because he did see her randomly at the airport and just had no idea who she was, but it was just like, oh my god, she's incredible. She looks like love at first sight kind of thing. So I'm like, it gets that. If not for that scene, this would be creepy stalker movie. But because it's a woman, it's fine. Anyway, but it was enjoyable. The 4K looks immaculate. I got that as part of the Columbia Classics set, whatever it was. One of those big sets that are obnoxious. They have like 6 to 8 films. Anyway, great 4K. Never seen it, so I was really happy about that. But I would definitely recommend Joe vs. the Volcano. Much better film of these 2 characters. Then I watched Friendship, because on the 28th I got 2 A24s in. I watched one the next day, but I'd never got an A24 Blu-ray, which you will see in a coming mail video whenever I film that. I've been busy. And that was really, really great. I gave it 4 stars. It was really funny. I love Tim Robinson. I love I Think You Should Leave. If you like I Think You Should Leave, you should watch this. It's basically a hour-and-a-half long sketch of just that, maybe hour 40, but like with a full-on narrative, not just random sketches. So it has his demented, fucked-up comedy. It's not even fucked up, it's just bloody weird. And it was hilarious. I really enjoyed it. I've been wanting to watch it for a while, so I'm very excited that I finally got to it. I know it's a 2024 film, so I'm saying to watch it for a while, but it's like, because it's a really small film, couldn't really get much of a release in Australia outside of like the Cinema Nova or Palace Cinemas and whatever. But then I double featured it with Honey Don't. Went out and saw that with my mate Guy, because him and I had previously seen last year's Drive Away Dolls, which we both loved. Wasn't so hot on Honey Don't. I gave it 2.5, and I'm like, like this. I like elements to it. When it's funny, I enjoyed it. Some of the characters were fun. But then after a while, everything stopped being fun. The mystery element of it, because it's a detective, it's a homage to a 70s detective, but it's set in like present day, so COVID exists and shit like that, and like mobile phones and whatever. But the main character, played by Michael Qualley, who is incredible, but not great at this, as this character, wasn't hot on it, is a lesbian detective who's got a 70s noir vibe, and it's just... like, I don't know, it's just weird, but not in a fun, quirky, that kind of really works kind of way. Aubrey Plaza's in it. She's good, but she's probably got the best performance of the film, realistically. Charlie Day's there for some fucking reason. He's just kind of weird. I was talking to my mate Guy afterwards. I'm like, he's the only one who I didn't really like in it, because I'm like, why is he also doing this 70s shtick if no one else is? Like, her assistant in the film is, but she's not talking like she's from the 70s. She just dresses like it because it's like it's part of like the hey, this is our work clothes. This is what we wear to work. Probably not realizing that her boss just wears that normally. And so my mate Guy was just like, well, I think Charlie Day's character is more like he's just trying to match her energy, so that's why he talks like a 70s detective guy as well, like a 70s cop. And I'm like, yeah, they should have established that. They should have been like, have him talk to someone else who's not her, and just be normal, and then when he talks to her, he puts on this like presentation to make it seem like he's got some flair to himself, that he can match her energy, but they didn't have that. It's a really short film too. It's only like 89 minutes. It's really short, so... yeah, it just felt undercooked. Needed some more time for itself. Or just a longer runtime to like really flesh out some things, because some things just happen, and we just cut away for it for just some hardcore lesbian sex, which I'm all for. Go for it, whatever. But, if you're in the middle of a really tense scene and you just cut to like Aubrey Plaza getting fucked, I'm like, this is great, but also really just tonally a mixed bag. Anyway... I should note as well that I actually finished watching It's Always Sunny, the latest season. I forgot that I had finished that as well on the Wednesday night, that I also watched the Alien Earth episode. Alien Earth, still enjoyable. It's Always Sunny was still fun. It's a fun show. That's about it. On the 29th, I double featured Boxing Helena. Yeah, I found a DVD copy from Germany, 101 minutes, so I don't think it's an authentic cut, because... despite everything that happens in it is exactly what's detailed on Wikipedia, and in the unrated cut, which they have descriptive text on IMDb, the same scenes happened in the version I saw. I don't know what the fuck I watched. I missed it at MIF, unfortunately. They had it as a mystery double feature, which even though Alex had told us beforehand that was going to be the film, which was a theatrical cut, not an unrated one, this seems to be a cut-down version of the theatrical cut, but with, like, some inserts of the unrated cut for the sex scenes. There's only 2, so, it's not much of an erotic thriller, and I wouldn't say it's that. It's defined as an avant-garde, I guess, thriller, maybe erotic avant-garde film. It's neither erotic nor thrilling. It is funny at times. It's strange, avant-garde, sure, but that just kind of feels like you can slap that on anything. That seems a bit weird. I don't know. I gave it 2 stars, but I think either I might really like it with the unrated cut, or maybe I just want to rewatch it, because sometimes it's just got a weird energy. Again, the avant-garde thing, it's got such a weird energy you can't match, and then when you understand it, you get it, because luckily Caitlin said that she watched it obviously in a theatre with people, so they got it, they understood, this is funny, this is weird, let's laugh at this and with this. Like, whenever Bill Paxton's on screen, it's insanely great. Like, I'm like, this guy's hilarious. This whole thing is hilarious. But also really just fun and enjoyable. It's not hilarious because it's bad. So yeah, it's got a mixed reception for a very obvious reason. So, I don't know. Julian Sands was good. Sherilyn Fenn was interesting. It's just a weird film. Anyway, then I watched Bring Her Back because my partner came over. Because, again, we went to Caitlin's party the next night, the Saturday, and, yeah, I got the A24 4K of Bring Her Back, which I was really excited for. We've been wanting to watch it for months. We didn't see it in the cinema because I was concerned I'd probably have a panic attack during watching it because, intense horror can sometimes play with me, which sucks because I love horror films. We fucking loved it. The 4K looks incredible. The sound mix, insane. This is the A24 version because, again, we don't have a Blu-ray in Australia yet. Comes out in October, which, again, neither a 4K, nor do I know if it has any special features. This one had a commentary, an interview of the directors and Sally Hawkins, a whole 30-minute long behind-the-scenes featurette, and a deleted scene. Great release. If you haven't seen the film, I would not recommend looking at any of the pictures that come in the set because it does spoil the film. So, woof. But insane, graphic, fucked up, beautiful. Gave it 4.5 stars. Me and Helene absolutely loved it. We were meant to watch it when she got here. She got here to my place late because she was packing, and so I was able to watch Boxing Helena because of that. Because I'd finished work at 1. Was like, alright, I'll watch Boxing Helena. Helene got here. I had 20 minutes left of Boxing Helena. Finished that. Even she was like, what the fuck was that movie? I'm like, I don't know. It was alright. Let's move on to the next one before my parents get back and put on loud music and whatever. But because of that, I think I had the volume a bit too loud that it maybe overpowered the system a bit because by the hour and 32-minute mark, the whole disc glitched. Static on the image, everything. I was able to switch it from my Panasonic to my Sony player, played fine, had no issues, that didn't have Dolby Vision, but it still looked great, finished the rest of the film, insane experience to have to do that, jumped it back to the other player, and it played smoothly, so I don't know what the deal was, maybe again a volume thing. So either way, I don't know. It's annoying because it's just a 4K disc. I want them to have Blu-ray discs for that security reason, because it's like, what if the 4K disc fucks up and I live in a different continent? What the fuck, my guy? Anyway, didn't watch anything on the 30th because I went to Caitlin's party. Fucking slapped. Wonderful time. But we did on the 31st. We've been planning all day. We've just been doing Japan stuff, booking a whole bunch of shit for the whole trip. I got the book stuff that we're doing on my birthday, which I'm so fucking excited for. So that was great. Spent all day just relaxing, doing the planning for the trip. And then we watched The Nice Guys, which was an absolute blast. Watched the 4K from Second Sight. I still give it 5 stars. This is like the 5th or 6th time I've seen this movie. I fucking adore it. It was great. It was just great to watch a funny movie with Helene. Just to take our minds off and just enjoy ourselves. Just a good time around. Classic film. Can't go wrong with it. The 4K looks great. The Dolby Atmos mix was great as well. I can't really say that the 4K looked better than the Blu-ray. Like, it definitely had noticeable upticks with some color and with the black spots. Like, oh my god, the dark scenes looked incredible. But yeah, so I highly recommend it. The Second Sight version is insane, and I have the collector's set, which comes with a big booklet of essays, including one by my friend Nadine, which looks great. And it's all fucking tremendous. Wonderful stuff. 10 out of 10. See you kids next month. I get to watch 2 of my favourite films in the cinema in September, and I'm so fucking keen. So, see you around.